Hi everyone. So my name is Tammy, and welcome to another day of podcast. And this is Interns Connect, and today we are also having the second episode of landing your dream internship with any of the top tech companies, and also Microsoft as a case study. And I'm here today with another amazing colleague of mine. So before we start, I'm going to give a little bit of opportunity for she to introduce herself and to tell us a little bit about her background. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm fine. So I just want you to quickly just tell us a little bit about you, what program you're doing, and how you got to come about your MBA journey.
Okay, can do. I am originally from the Washington, D.C. area. My name is Ariel. I use she, her pronouns. I was at AARP's Startup Accelerator before this, and I really liked working with startups, but wanted to be at kind of a more established tech company to see what it is like to work kind of more directly with technology solutions. And so that led me to Yale School of Management, where I'm currently doing my MBA. And then finding Microsoft, I kind of went into my MBA knowing I wanted to work at a large tech company, and Microsoft felt like a really great fit in terms of their focus on inclusivity and diversity and inclusion. And as like a queer person and having a Hispanic background, that was really important to me in terms of working at a company. And so it felt like a really great fit, and I feel really lucky to be here. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, thank you very much. So if you guys don't hear, she's actually in Yale, one of the top Ivy League universities we have in the United States. So that's a big one. We have a very big guest here. So just a little bit into the application process, right? I want to ask, when did you start your application into getting an internship? Like, when did the process start? Was it like before your program or within the program? I just want to give us a little bit details about that.
Okay, so process for getting the internship.
Yes.
Okay, so good question. I think I chose a business school in like April or May before I started.
Okay.
And then I was in MLT and Consortium, so I went to their 2 summer conferences where I kind of met people from Microsoft there. And then I was added to like the list to be notified when the application opened.
Okay.
And then I worked on my resume with my career advisors at school and looked at resumes from my peers who were second years and then interned at tech companies to make mine kind of fit the criteria that I thought a tech company might be looking for. And then I drafted some cover letters just to have, and so that I could tweak them as I went. Yeah. And then I just applied like the first day the application opened. And I think that was like the key. That's like my biggest tip to do. Yeah.
Okay. So in essence, what you're saying is that the conference that you attended influenced you getting the notification on when the application started. So one big thing that everyone should know is that attend conferences. What's the name of the conference again?
It was the Consortium Orientation Program, so OP, and then the MLT Summer Program. But I think a lot of the diversity conferences have
stakeholders, people from Microsoft. So possibly you may not have the opportunity to attend some of the consortium, but there are so many conferences that you can attend. I know of the Afrotech. I also know of the Black MBA conference. I also know of NSB. So like any of these conferences, it's a huge plus.
Yes.
It's a huge plus for you to keep tabs with recruiters, for you to keep tabs with some of these representatives for some of the top tech companies we have in the United States. That's good. So you said you applied immediately, you got the notification. So was it that you applied to just Microsoft, or how many internship, or how many companies did you apply to?
That's a good question. I probably applied to like 10 or 15 companies.
Okay.
But Microsoft notified really early on, which was really nice. So like we were interviewing for Microsoft in like October, November, and then we were hearing back right before winter break. So I feel like I like knew pretty early. So I didn't get a chance to apply to many.
Yeah.
Which was really great.
Okay. So apart from the resources that you had, like the platform and the conference with Consortium, what other would you say things that helped you with your application phase? Like What other supports did you get that actually helped you?
I think I talked to a lot of second years that were at various tech companies to figure out kind of how they approach the interview and prepared for it. I talked through my story with like an admissions guide to figure out whether it made sense for tech roles. What else did I do? I think those are the main things. I think I talked to alumni, like I talked to several alumni from the Microsoft marketing program that even went to other schools but went to my same undergrad. So we had a connection there. Yeah. Or I knew they were in Consortium, or we had some sort of connection. And so I talked to them and that helped a lot. So
in essence, there was a kind of a reference point that you were able to like meet, to talk to people that were ahead of you. That's a good one. So did you face any challenges during that period of application? Was there any maybe unique challenges that you had? And if yes, how did you overcome
it? Sure. I think there was like a few companies, like I think Adobe did like a pre-interview case, or like as part of the interview process, you had to like come up with a presentation. And I was not good at that. Like I had never done that before, and that was really new to me. And so that was like a challenge I had. But basically what I did is I kind of like developed a presentation, and then I showed it to several of my peers in the MBA program. I think that that's something that's really great about an MBA, is that you have all these people around you who are doing similar things and speak the same language. And so I really lean on my peers for help with that. And that ended up being like a really fruitful exercise in order to kind of just learn how to present myself, even if it wasn't for a specific case.
Yeah. So I also got shortlisted for Adobe too. And I did that same presentation that you actually did for. So for me, I actually got feedback from Adobe in January.
Okay.
That's, in fact, it was after I got my, I got the response from Microsoft. That was when Adobe was like, we want you to do a case presentation. After the case presentation, you now have like an interview with our team to present on the case and so many things. But I already got Microsoft, so
I'm happy for you.
I was like, there's no need, guys. I don't want to stress you guys up. Yeah, so
I'm glad you didn't have to do it.
Exactly, like, it was stressful. And so I think I attempted it. I attempted it, was like, let me just try my luck. Right? I attempted it, but it was deep. Like, the case was like they gave you they actually gave you 3 topics for you to choose one and present on one of the topic. And there are some guidelines on those. I attempted it, but trust me, it was really tough. And it was a very short time. It was like within 2 or 3 days. You're supposed to submit it. It was really, really tough. All right, so thank God that we got Microsoft. So I want you to walk me through how was the process from you applying to how was the interview process, right?
For
Microsoft. So how was it from you applying for you to get your feedback down to the interview? What was the process like?
I think I applied at like end of September, early October, if I remember correctly. And then it was just like a all-day interview. So it was like 3 back-to-back 30 or 45-minute interviews. But it was all behavioral, which is really nice. So it was like you got to meet different people on the team. They asked what I was interested in working on at Microsoft, why I thought I was a good fit for the culture. I felt like it was more of like a cultural fit interview. But it was all behavioral, which is really great. And like they asked a lot about my previous work experience. So that was nice.
So do you think that your previous work experience was like part of, so what is first and foremost, what is your previous work experience, right? And do you think that it was kind of a part of an enhancement to you getting your internship?
Good question. Yeah, so my first job out of college, I was doing tech implementations, so consulting for various clients in the DC area. And then after that, I worked at a startup accelerator within AARP, so working on startups who are solving problems for older adults. And so I did think both of those experiences kind of parlayed into the Microsoft role in terms of kind of working with technology in depth as a partner, and then working with technology, like startup technology. And so I was able to kind of make a case for Microsoft, but I do think like most experiences probably are relevant if you like think of a creative way to talk about them. And then I think I interviewed, and then I think maybe a week later I found out that I got it. So that's really great.
So in essence, right, you don't have a marketing background. It's not just, Microsoft is not just for those that have marketing background, because, I know some people may think that because you're applying for a product marketing role, you need a huge marketing background, or you must have done something related to marketing background. You don't really need that.
Really good point. Yeah, you don't need a marketing background. And I think this is true for any job. Like if you can come up with some way that you did something similar before, I think it can work. Did you have a marketing background?
I do actually.
You do.
So actually, right, my first degree was in electrical and industrial engineering. So I have more of a tech background, just like you. So, but I did I have some experience working for some marketing industry. I worked as a brand manager.
Wow.
And also, but I noticed even during my interview, there was nothing related to my marketing background. Most of the questions were around growth mindset, how you can deal with ambiguity, how you can communicate with team, interpersonal skill, communication skill. So those are like the things that they are looking for. So whatever background that anybody has, if you can properly sell yourself within those niches, right, you'll be able to like excel. So what resources did you use to prepare for your interview?
Good question. I think I did go through the Microsoft website and I looked at their like diversity and inclusion initiatives to see if any of them resonated with me. I like familiarized myself with the products. And then I did a little bit of like scenario building. So I was like, here are my 5 stories that I could tell, and here's how they're relevant to different things. I totally agree with like the dealing with ambiguity. All of that I think was really helpful. How long was your process?
So it was pretty much the same thing, right? Mine was in January. So I got a notification around first week of January, and I'm like, hey, we would like to interview you for so. It's going to be this, I'm going to be that. I was like, okay. And the next week, I kind of prepared for the interview, and just like yours, it was on a Friday. It was between the hours of either 10 or 11. I've forgotten. It was something within the morning hours to about 3 p.m. So it was like back to back, 3 hours, 45 minutes, then 15 minutes break, the next one. So just pretty much the same way like you. So how did you handle, did you have technical questions? Because I know, like there are some interviews that they could have like some technical questions around maybe case study, just like the Adobe one, right? Did you have technical questions, or like you mentioned, you had just behavioral questions? So how did you handle the behavioral questions, or how did you respond to those questions? Because I know there's usually frameworks that respond to questions.
So I didn't do a ton of case prep, and I think that could have been good for me. Like I don't know a lot of the structures or things like that. I think I had a few interviews that were more case heavy, but then I just tried to think of it like how I would approach the problem and answer that way. Okay. But I'm not the right person. I don't know that much about
That's fine.
I didn't do that.
All right. So because I also didn't get any technical question, right? My question was just behavioral question. They want to know how I was able to communicate with team lead, or possibly how I was able to handle a difficult situation. I think one of my questions was, if I'm in a team and I have like a conflict with my manager, how am I be able to like handle those kind of situations, right? Having a manager that doesn't maybe accept or doesn't believe in what you're working to, those kind of situations. So it was purely behavioral questions.
Mine was purely behavioral.
All right. So this is like your 10th week, right? How's it been? How's your experience been? What exactly would you say that is are some of the things that you learned being in 10 weeks and you have 2 more weeks left, for your final presentation? How's it been for you?
Gosh, it's so crazy. It's flown by so fast. Yeah. I think Microsoft has one of the longer internships. It's like a 12-week internship instead of a 10-week internship. And I think at the beginning, I thought that was going to be like a really long time, but it still feels so short. Like it's such a crazy amount of time to be at a company and try to like help in some way. But it's been a wonderful experience. Everyone is so fun. We have the best time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a really structured internship. Like they are not letting us flail. Like it's very organized. And I really like that it's part of like a larger rotational program in terms of like the role out of an MBA.
Yeah.
You get to like try on different roles within marketing. But the experience has been wonderful. Yeah, and the 10th week is crazy. I'm
Yeah.
presenting my final project. And yeah, I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
It's been really fun.
Okay, well, which are actually the best in your project? I know you're going to kill it, right? So, my final question is, what advice would you give to maybe future MBA students looking to apply to like Microsoft or maybe other tech companies or even consulting companies? What, from your experience, what advice would you give?
Good question. Good question. This is maybe, I don't know, but I looked at, we have like a resume book at Yale. I don't know if I'm sure other schools have it.
Yeah.
But I looked through people's resumes that got internships that I really wanted, and I saw what skills they highlighted. So like, even if they had been in like consulting or like banking, like they highlighted certain skills, and I found that I had done similar things, even though my role was different. And so then I highlighted those skills in my resume, and I think that helped me stand out. I also looked at the culture of each company, like Google's more analytical. Microsoft, I felt like was more focused on diversity and inclusion. Like I just kind of looked at what the companies were focused on and tried to highlight also those aspects of my candidacy as well.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Look at what each company needs and try to like align those keywords and those key competencies in your resume so that, it's going to also help in whenever it's going through the resume AI documents or whatever that is going through. And also it's going to help the recruiters, see some of those key niche and those competencies that you need or that they are looking for in a particular candidate. And that's a very good one, right?
Totally.
It's a very, very key one.
I think my last thing is also apply as soon as it opens. Like I think a lot of my peers wanted to have like the perfect resume or the perfect cover letter. And so they like got a ton of reviews and they waited a long time to submit their application. And I think applying early, even if it's like a little bit less than perfect, is way more important than making sure that it like does everything you want it to do.
That's true. Kind of making your bucket a little bit big, start applying early, like applying as soon as possible because it's not just you're actually competing with thousands and thousands of people. When you come in apply in and put in the application, push the application button, hopefully you get selected and you get picked.
Wait, sorry, one more. Sorry, now I'm thinking about these.
Sure.
Okay, one more is that I think there's a myth that consulting and banking happen first and then tech happens later. But like both of us had already heard about tech in January. So I think if you want to do tech, you need to apply as early as you do for consulting or banking.
Yeah, true. Because, basically, right, the only thing I know that is different between consulting or banking and tech is that I know they usually do pre-MBA, right? They have this like co-op thing that they have like a pre-MBA program where they like have those people interested in coming. But I don't think tech has the pre-MBA, right? I know that once because there was a period of time I followed Google. I was supposed to apply to Google. I think I even applied to Google, right? They had this like MBA sections where they like have like info sections where they like guide people on how the application is going to be like. So it's totally true. Applying early and is almost the same time. I think anybody that is interested in Microsoft or in tech company should have started dusting their resume by now. Because this is we're almost approaching August and August is the application period, right?
Yes. Start doing your resume. Yes.
So you start doing your resume, start getting your cover letter, start getting people to like get through the admissions team or get through like second years to possibly look through your resume, right?
Yes, definitely. Start now.
All right, start now, guys. So my last question is there anything that you wish you had known before the start of the internship application process? Is there anything that possibly you wish you would have done better? If you had like with the knowledge you have now, looking back, is there anything that you have maybe do more or redo again for the future?
That's interesting. Now I'm like, it worked out. I think you're right. Like, I think start doing your resume in August. You don't want to be doing it with everyone else when school starts. Like, that's stressful. Like, start doing it now. I would start like reading job descriptions, like read the PMM listing from last year for Microsoft, read the listing for Google, like read all the listings and start pulling out words that you think you should work in. That was an exercise I did. And resumes take longer than you think. So like do those early. I guess, yeah, that's my one.
Yeah. All right, guys. You've heard it from my lovely guest, Ariel. I want to say a very big thank you to her for making out time between her busy schedule. I know she has like tons of projects that she's working on, but she was able to here to like share some insight about her journey, her experience with us today, and it is truly inspiring. So I'm sure that the listeners that you find value and you also like get to like implement some of the things that she shared here. So I want you to stay tuned for the next episode where we're going to be sharing more and inviting more experts to share their part on how they become successful interns. Thank you guys. See you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. This was wonderful.
All right.